Name a funnier athlete. I'll wait.
Charles Barkley.
I don't know. I don't disagree that Charles is very, very funny, but I don't know that if we went bit for bit, OJ to Charles. Charles is putting up more numbers for sure.
But he was in the game longer.
Charles got a longer run.
Yeah, he was in the game. He played more games.
He just showed, you know what I mean? It's like Kawhi versus fucking Paul George at this point, where it's like, yeah, Paul George, he plays more often for sure.
Excuse me, his name is Playoff Pete.
Playoff Pete, excuse me.
That's fine.
Yeah, he plays more often for sure, but I don't know if at the end of the day we're going to say that's a better player than Kawhi Leonard.
Man. I can love you in the shower, both of our bodies dripping wet. On the patio, we can make a night you won't forget. On the kitchen floor, as I softly pull your hair, we can do it anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another phenomenal episode of My Momma Told Me.
The podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of black conspiracy theories.
And we finally worked to prove that the cool in Cool Mode D was in fact short for Cool Whip. The man was the heir to a dairy fortune. Oh. My name is David Gborie.
Oh, that is huge. If true, that is fantastic. And I am Langston Kerman. And to find out that Cool Mode D has been a Nepo baby this entire time is
come on.
That's a lot.
You're in the business. Are you surprised that's how it works?
I'm not surprised. I'll say that that more often than not, it is stunning how many people come from sort of like a history, a relationship with this industry.
Truly.
So Cool Mode D being no exception it's just the way it goes, I guess.
Look at me. I'm the illegitimate son of Cool Rock Ski from the Fat Boys. You think I just got here?
You know that one fat boy who didn't show up good in black and white pictures?
Don't do my dad like that.
It did feel like the Fat Boys never got successful enough to get like even lighting. Do you know what I mean? Where it was just like,
but
they were like one dude who sort of threw them off every time, and it was either the light skinned one or the really dark skinned one.
Well, I think both of those guys were trailblazers in that they were so dark and so like they were new to media.
Yeah, yes, I think that's true.
You know what I'm saying? There wasn't a lot of guys as dark as Cool Rock Ski, who we do look alike. Olivia, if you could have production do a side-by-side, you'll see it.
Yeah. Is that the face you want to make in the side-by-side?
I don't know. As soon as I did it, I regretted it.
All right.
I don't know what I was.
Listen, it felt honest. It just didn't feel like the big swing that you probably needed. But
it felt true to me though. I mean, we look a lot. I've got DMs. I could probably pull up some, but people have let me know my entire life. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about the Fat Boys. Who no. I think I was going to say, though, if you talk about to people from the time, I think they were huge.
I do think they
no
had
pun
a
intended.
Big imprint. I almost think, and I'm cautious to say this, but I think that they're going to be like, sort of like how Ray Sremmurd was. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, big imprint. Like, right. Like at the end of the day, we're going to like remember a bunch of songs that they had, but nobody's going to like rush to say their names after, 2025 kind of thing.
That's true. But they did get me through a couple summers.
Yeah. No, that fucking, what was the shit where we all were freezing everywhere we went? They did
Which
that.
One?
That challenge. Remember they had that song where we all like would freeze and then we dance afterwards.
I don't remember that. I remember if I think of Ray Sremmurd, I think of Black Beatles.
That's the song. That's the one.
Oh, that was good. And No Type. No Type was so good.
Yeah.
You remember that song?
Of course. Yeah. No, they had some hits.
I like songs that I could rap when I'm drunk.
And what's his name is responsible for the Spider-Man song, which I would say is one of the greatest songs ever made. Him and Post Malone. Yeah, Sway Lee and Post Malone made that Spider-Man song.
I don't even know what song you're talking about.
Oh, you know the Spider-Man song. Don't do me like that. Come on.
I'm sorry, man. I don't. In the Black Spider-Man, in the new one?
Yeah, of course. They ain't making what's his name?
Baby, I'm a wreck.
Yeah, that's one.
Oh, that is, man, that is good.
That song don't make you feel good when that come on?
Come on, I'm going to play that after this.
Yeah.
I'm a sunflower.
He was thinking about me.
Yeah, it's me. Baby, I'm a wreck. We're not here. I wish we were here to talk about Sunflower.
Honestly, it would be easier to approach today's episode if we were just talking about sunflowers and Sway Lee. But unfortunately, we lost.
It's a much darker day.
We lost a major, I would say, contributor to the podcast this past week.
I would say maybe even to the culture. We could zoom out at just the Langston and David of it all.
That's true. I think selfishly, I immediately go, well, this person played such a major role in our podcast, but more than that, this person played a massive role in the world around us and literally the way we speak, the way we identify ourselves in the world. He was a game changer.
Truly shaped our art form, at least.
I'd say so.
Stand-up comedy, there went forward leaps and bounds.
I don't know an individual who has lived in more bits than this person.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe Michael Jackson.
Maybe. But even Mike, I think after a while, we were like, all right, bro, ease up on old Mike.
Right.
Like Billie Jean is Billie Jean. But with him, we were like, nah, you keep on shooting, baby.
Because he outwardly remained a villain to the end, which is
to the absolute end.
Crazy.
If you haven't pieced it together yet, we're talking about our dear friend of the pod, OJ Simpson, passed away at the age of 76. He was 76 years old, and he was maybe the best bad boy that's ever lived, I would say.
I mean, truly a San Francisco legend.
San Francisco legend, a murder legend.
Legend in 2 games.
He did all the silliest stuff you could do as a human being, and we were sorry to see him go. But we figured by Olivia's suggestion, I think it's worth a Twitter legend. Absolutely, Olivia. He was a Twitter legend. Y'all take care remains one of my favorite sign-offs that that a person can say. It's great. He'd like say something weirdly homophobic and then be like, all right, y'all take care.
Yeah.
I just miss him so much, and I don't know what to do with these feelings yet.
It's crazy. I mean, regardless of how you feel about him, he was one of those ones that you never thought was gonna die. Does that
agree.
Make sense?
Yeah.
There's sometimes a celebrity in the culture kind of dies, and you're like, okay, we saw that coming. But truly, I mean, I wasn't aware of his cancer, but like truly, yeah, never thought the man was gonna die.
I actually weirdly was aware of his cancer. I think I had like read it somewhere, or we were talking about it.
I mean, you also are a research guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like to know who has cancer when I can.
I mean, in general, of the things that you enjoy.
I be checking the cancer stat sheets every week.
You got a Deadpool.
But I will say that even to your point, when I found out he had cancer, no part of me ever, and I knew he had I'm pretty sure he had prostate cancer. Is that's the one that fucks everybody up?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the specifics.
Yeah, it's prostate cancer. I think that is if you get that, it's terminal. There are very rare survivors of prostate cancer. And even in hearing that, I was like, nah, OJ will be fine. I don't think OJ is going to pass away from this shit because he just seems so infallible.
He looked so strong. I mean, he was hot till the day he died. That guy was handsome.
Yeah.
Like, he had a broad build the whole time. He never.
And an ego about it. There's a video that started circulating pretty recently of him in a truck where he like rolled down, he pulls up somewhere and rolls down his window. He says, a lot of people have been saying that I'm about to die soon, that I have some sort of terminal cancer. And that's just foolish. That's just nonsense. The media, they'll run with anything. I'm fine. I'm doing great. Y'all take care. And then pulls off and literally died a month later from a very terminal illness.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Truly one of the biggest weirdos of all time.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Such a weird guy. Odd humor. You ever see the clip where he went to the reporter and she opened the door and he was like,
well, you know what that's from?
Him being a weirdo?
Well, sort of. OJ at one point had a prank show.
Juiced.
Produced. Yeah, Juiced. And that is a clip from Juiced. that again he produced.
It was his idea.
You beat the most famous murder case of all time, and you're like, my nigga, I gotta do bits about this.
Yeah, this shit is hilarious. Like in the way that you said you think Terrence Howard is truly aware of the bit and all that blah blah. Yeah, I think that about OJ.
Oh, I definitely think OJ was in on the joke.
I mean, so I think with OJ is such a storied history. I would like to start, because we're the same age. So as it was happening, you really weren't like, how old were you? We were like 9-10 years old, right?
Yeah. What is it? 96? No, I think it's like 92, 93.
The white Bronco chase?
OJ trial timeline. Let's look it up. So the October 3rd, 1995, the jury finds OJ Simpson not guilty. So
okay, so 94 was
the events of June 12th, 1994 is when OJ supposedly murders everybody. 1994 is the Bronco. Yeah. So 1994
is the fallout.
And then 95 is when the case sort of like gets resolved. So 94.
How aware were you of it?
We're 7 years old, 8 years old when this is happening.
Yeah.
I was aware because my dad was very sort of emphatic about this, that the racism of the trial outweighed his guilt.
I agree.
That was something that like felt like it.
Really? Your dad was on that?
Yeah, but my dad, I think I've explained it before. My dad is like a Marxist and like a very sort of like he doesn't believe that the government has any right to apply, criminal decisions on anybody. Like it should just be sort of like put in the hands of the everyday people. Like you murder somebody, you should get murked kind of energy.
Your dad like street justice.
Yeah, I don't think he would describe it that way, but I do think there's a bit of a Venn diagram that lives inside of all of this. But that
he would love Sierra Leone. Continue.
I think his point was more that like, yeah, this dude probably did it. Like it's not that may or may not be true, but more importantly, this system is sort of built to take advantage of its assignments of guilt and not guilt, if that makes sense.
I mean, that is looking at it as a grown-up, right? That is the complication of the whole thing, right? Is that it almost feels like a loss for justice, but like the specifics of the trial are all so racial, right? It was in LA. It was mostly a black jury. It was 2-3 years after the riot. You know what I mean? It was like essentially became less about did OJ do it and more about is Mark Furman a racist, right?
Yeah, and Mark Furman became a major player in it in a way that, like, I'm sure the prosecution never intended. I think, it just became a racial conversation far more than I think if this got a clean, objective sort of like pass, OJ goes to jail, no questions asked, right? Like we all go, hey, you nearly decapitated your ex-wife. That's what that is, period. And
I mean, might I
instead,
remind you, Langston, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
that's true.
Glove didn't fit. They claim he was on some medicine that made his hand swell or some shit like that.
I've heard that. I've also heard people involved very plainly state it just wasn't his glove. Certainly the biggest argument that I personally have started to believe, and we've talked about this before on the podcast when Sean Diston was on, is that it wasn't his glove, it was his son Jason's glove. And Jason was in fact the person who murdered Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson all those years ago. And certainly if you need a little bit of a reminder of all the evidence that sort of is stacked against Jason, he had a criminal history. He also had a history of mental illness, and specifically his criminal activity was related to using knives. He on multiple occasions threatened people with knives and attempted to attack people with knives. He also had an ongoing sort of feud with Nicole Brown Simpson and was constantly sort of in this like back and forth with her. She was also meant to show up at his restaurant that evening, a restaurant where he was a waiter, and instead she opted to go to a different restaurant, which many people have claimed she took personally, or rather he took personally. And sort of the most damning of all the pieces of evidence, in my opinion, is that when OJ Simpson is notified of his wife's quote unquote passing, he immediately, before even calling an attorney for himself, calls an attorney to represent Jason. And so a lot of people believe that OJ Simpson was sort of working to cover up whatever his son had done. And the sort of the argument for this is whether or not OJ Simpson has ever demonstrated that level of care for anyone, especially members of his family.
I mean, yeah, that's
the counter argument.
That's the odd thing about OJ, right? Very odd familial ties and relationships in general. Real weird shit with his dad, right? Who was possibly a homosexual. I wish I didn't say homosexual. I should have just said gay. I don't know why I said it like that.
It felt.
Stop laughing. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. I don't know what the fuck just happened. That was crazy.
It felt like you wanted to fix it. That felt clinical in a way.
It was really weird. It was so weird. What the fuck? I don't even, bro.
Hey man, you got some hate deep in your heart.
That's the crazy thing. I just don't. You know what it is that I'm scared of sounding stupid on this one. Because so much of this is so much of the OJ Simpson and how you feel about it as a black person is so visceral and so guttural. And like, it's like, because I was really walking around kind of thinking about how I felt about this the other day. And it's like, were I of age at the time? I know what he did is so terrible. Socially, I wish I could say that I would not have been excited about the verdict, but I think I would have.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you is where did your family stand in all of this? You're 7, 8 years old. Is your mom rooting for OJ? Is she calling him a murderer in the house? Like where did all of that live for you?
I don't think it was that big a deal left or right. Because you got to think my mom is young, right? So in 95, if I'm 7, my mom's 26. And just like, she also didn't have the reverence for OJ having not grown up here.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And not caring about sports, specifically football at all. So it was just like, there wasn't like I just remember kind of an indifference.
Right.
I don't remember much. I remember my auntie Teresa was way into it, but my mom's best friend. But yeah, I wasn't like made to feel any type of way left or right about it. So even when it happened, I remember I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the magnitude of it. I didn't understand why black people were so excited. I didn't understand why white people. I just didn't. I really didn't know. And we had cable, so it wasn't like, you know what I mean?
Right.
We were getting catch ups on the current affair, but
It
it wasn't like.
It wasn't on every channel at your house.
No. Yeah, it was like, and just even the world of sports, especially at the time. I don't think I'd even started really playing sports like that. So like everything about it was so far away. So I really didn't have any feelings on it until I got older.
Yeah, to me, it's interesting because I never cared about football and never really understood who OJ was and the scale of his actual like performance as this like athlete, right? That like understood everybody was like, no, he was a great player. But I wasn't sitting here revering OJ as like the legend that he ultimately was. It was just like, oh, okay, everybody seems to care. Everyone I knew in my life was invested in this story. And in that way, it was like the Alabama brawl. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just like, well, if everybody on Twitter's talking about this shit, then that's what we're talking about. And in that way, OJ was the first sort of viral meme well before memes were even a word that we use.
Right. I mean, I also think that you have to be older than us to realize the impact socially. Like, he was, like a corporate shill. So his face was he was beloved for real.
Yeah. And
by black people and white people alike. Like I think that's what breeds the whole, I'm not black, I'm OJ, he was so loved.
And such a fascinating journey in terms of like the world of blackness. Do you know what I mean? Like you go from being like sort of this beloved, almost like neutral figure that can be you can be put in a Hertz commercial and you're sort of painted as like this harmless, nice guy who also crunches his head into other people's heads. And then it transitions into you being...
That's how I know you hate football.
Yeah, no, I don't respect it at all. That's what you guys do. You slam your helmets into each other. Until your wives are scared.
See, this is sneaky light skin activities. Come on, man. Stick to the fucking topic. Until your wives are scared.
But no, he goes from being sort of like this objectively warm figure for everybody to then being sort of kind of an exclusively white hero at one point, and then turned into like this black hero, but black people didn't really like him. They were just rooting for him in terms of like what it meant to like beat the system, to fucking win one over a system that's built for us to lose. And then he kind of becomes like a joke in a way that like white people hate him and black people don't want nothing to do with him. But like he's just living on golf courses and eating out like little white ladies. And then by the end, he's doing fucking podcasts with Cameron. It's all very crazy.
The trajectory. And you got to go back to the beginning. OJ is from Potrero Hill Projects.
Yeah.
Like he had like was in a gang as a teen and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Imagine recruiting OJ for your gang.
Bro, I think that he was nothing nice as a kid. You know what I mean? I think that like what we have is years later. We don't have just like a boy child coming into his size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
OJ. I think it's like, cause I was going back and watching old interviews of him because I think he went to San Francisco City College before he went to USC. I'm pretty sure. And he went to high school in San Francisco. And I was watching old footage of him, and his demeanor it's not silly or cordial or anything. He was like a pretty serious, man. Just like when you see, and then I went and watched an interview of his old wife. What's her name? Marguerite, I
I
believe.
believe so, yeah.
Describing OJ and what she thinks about him. And really all she said was like, he's a very serious man.
Yeah, no, I remember watching that documentary and it was pretty clear that like that relationship had zero laughs in it.
Yeah. So I think the brevity that we saw is maybe almost like, you wonder if it's like a symptom of him. That's how he was broken.
Yeah, I mean, I think it reminds me a little, and I don't want to compare the individuals, and I don't want that to be conflated at all, but it reminds me a little of like, I remember watching that Tyson documentary where he talked about when he was like 18 years old or 16 years old, I can't remember, where like these very, very rich sort of like boxer expert people bring them to their giant fucking mansion to like train or to like build a relationship. I can't remember exactly what the context is, but ultimately he said he gets in this big ass mansion where he's now meeting some of the most major players in American boxing. Like this is his chance at a real future.
This is like after Cuss.
This is like
Cuss D'Amato.
No, this is early. This is before he's even before that's happened.
Oh, so he's like fresh out of like he's in juvie or whatever, right?
Yeah, this is like him. He was playing with pigeons moments ago, and then they pick him up and they bring him to this mansion upstate. And he says he walked in, and the entire time they're talking to him, he just kept thinking about how he could rob them. Like the entire time they're sitting here telling him how like they could transform his life. He's like, I could rob these motherfuckers right now and run off with all their shit. And it feels like that probably is where OJ used to live to some extent, and then found his way into like this, you know, jovial, nice, warm man who, you know, everybody loved.
Was he that though? Because it seems like that's all pretty front facing. There's like, you know what I mean? It's like, is that something he developed to deal with the public as opposed to did that reflect who he was?
Well, I'll say this, and we should go to break soon. I don't believe any person is that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think all of that is a ruse. Nobody is Paul Rudd all the time. Paul Rudd goes home and he's
what? I'm like,
he's just a positive, fun guy. But like, I bet he goes home and he like fucking gets jealous and mean, and that's not to say that he's a bad person. It's just to say that like we all have like poles to us, and to some extent, I think OJ just really mastered one type of presentational pole, and obviously the domestic violence, the sort of like rage that he demonstrated multiple times outside of the public eye is a reflection of how much that other pole shifted in the other direction.
I would agree with that. I think that he's a complicated guy. Maybe we throw a break, we come back. This is not as funny as I had hoped it would be.
No, it's not. It hasn't been. I
was like, we're going to get some good bits off. Talk about.
I am excited because when we come back, we do have Olivia took some time to gather up some of the big headlines as it relates to our dear friend OJ Simpson's passing. And I think a few of them are pretty provocative. They're exciting. They'll make for good conversation. So we hope you'll rejoin us. We're sorry it's not our funniest episode, but we're in mourning right now. We lost a really important man, and that's okay. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more My Momma Told Me.
Pop my butt, pop my butt. Pop my butt, pop my butt.
Do you know what pop my butt meant to Harriet Tubman? Do you know what that meant? It meant a whip.
We are back discussing OJ Simpson. I thought I could do the clip with a straight face.
You know what bothers me about that clip?
You tell me.
How does she know that? Do you know what I mean? How does she know that Harriet Tubman heard pop my butt, pop my butt, and she immediately was, no, the whip. Like, you don't know, bitch. That's not how they talked.
You don't know. You, for sure, she doesn't know. And also, a lot of shit we did sound bad to Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, literally everything I say sounds bad to Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, I mean, we can't. That's not the metric.
No.
Now, you know who would have loved it was MLK.
Pop my butt? Yeah, where's my Bible? I gotta hide something. Put it by my waist.
Oh, no, we're not here to only talk about Dr. King hiding his boner. No. We're here to talk about OJ Simpson.
OJ, the Juice Simpson. We have a number of articles that were gathered for us by our producer, Olivia. And the first one, which you and I got a hearty laugh at just from reading it. And this is very exciting. It's a ABC News article that says that OJ Simpson, former football star, will be cremated. Brain won't be donated for CTE research, says state executor. Which is fucking crazy.
Like, you know what?
You just won't even give people a moment of, like, peace?
Oh, man. I mean, to be fair, what does that change?
It just lets us know that this whole time he was crazy for a reason. That would be nice.
But there's so many other factors to OJ being nuts besides CTE. Like, I'm not trying to take away from CTE. I'm saying this was a man that was, you can't have the whole world come at you like that and not go crazy.
No, listen.
You would have gone nuts, and you've never played an aggressive sport in your life.
I played a little bit of football.
Oh, I bet you did. That's
summer.
Cute. Were you a safety?
No, I was a corner. I did all the. I've never told you the story. I did all the workouts for an entire.
Oh, that's
year.
right. And then you quit.
And then I quit right before pads, and the coach fully cussed me out. I've never had an adult do this before when I was a kid. Like, fully cussed me the fuck out and never spoke to me again. Like, would walk the halls and, like, ignore, like, pull his head and, like, ignore me like a fucking bitch. Like an absolute hoe. And I'll never forget it because he called my home and was like, Kerman, where are you? We're waiting on you. I was like, I'm not coming. And he was like,
Kerman, he
fuck you.
I don't know why it's so funny that he called you Kerman, but that's hilarious.
It's weird. It was weird. And then
you're not a last name first guy.
No, and you should have known that if you wanted to really recruit me for your little game. Even the way you spoke to me when you liked me made me uncomfortable. He was, Kerman, where are you? I was like, I'm not coming. He was like, fuck you.
Were you just like in the house? Just
hell yeah. I was chilling. I probably had a little date set up. I was going to go do my thing. And here he is talking about we got a 3-a-day set up and you're MIA. Bitch, I'm not coming to that.
Oh, man, that's so funny. Did you even like playing football, though? You don't seem like you would have enjoyed it.
I think I was, if I'm being completely honest, I think I was more fearful of it than enjoying it.
Like you were afraid of getting hurt?
Yeah, I never made it to pads, so I never really got like the full experience. So I think whatever that the looming fear of that in my head outweighed the enjoyment of like the activity itself, if that made sense.
Yeah, I get that. I understand. It's not for you.
I also think defense sort of is a different kind of game than, you know what I mean?
It's
like
the best. Defense is so fun.
I believe you. I think like if I were a running back or a wide receiver or some shit, you kind of feel like the goals are more clearly achievable. Like I run my route, I catch the ball, I don't
see you going over the middle. I think you have cornerback energy.
Yeah, no, I think
take that as you will.
No, I don't take it personally. And I will say, I think part of what made him mad was I was pretty good at it during like the summer training shit. Like I wasn't bad.
Like 7-on-7 and stuff.
Yeah, and like all the sort of like the workouts and like a lot of the stuff, I was demonstrating a lot of the skills that would make for a good cornerback. And so he was kind of hoping to have me, for real play. And I'm not coming. He's like, I will murder your family. But it's not about me. It's about our dear friend Juice and whether or not his brain should be donated. And I truly think it's insane that a person, and I agree with you, he's been crazy. He would have been crazy with or without the CTE. But I think you got to give people at least a little bit of peace to know that like, some of these antics, some of this behavior was rooted in a brain damage situation and not just a loose goose out on the streets.
What do you think the level is of that? Because he kind of had wild behavior prior to, like it was exhibited his whole life. It's not like it just showed up at some point.
I think if we're accounting for 100% of his crazy, right? If we're saying that he was 100% crazy, I would say 50% of that was CTE.
Wow, really?
I think a good half of it was CTE, yeah.
Wow, I
don't think he would have murdered 2 people with CTE.
Right.
Or without the CTE.
Okay.
I think he would have beat the shit out of 2 people without the CTE.
I mean, but you kind of also think his son did it.
Yeah.
So if his son did it, then where does CTE lie?
Well, let me be clear. I believe that his son did the physical action. I don't believe that OJ wasn't there that night. I think that OJ was very much a part of it, and it just was his son who took it all the way. Do you know what I mean? But I do think that like OJ was kind of like a liaison inside of this murder, which I think takes as much insanity as literally, carving a person's head nearly off.
Okay. But then what's his son's excuse? Maybe crazy just runs in the family.
I think there's probably a history of mental illness inside of their family. I think that's fair to say.
All right. I don't know how much I talk. I mean, CTE is a possibility, but I think that there's a lot of NFL players, ex, current, and future, who don't go on killing spree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I bet they got a little less CTE than he got. I bet they didn't have 50% and they were probably regular guys before that.
Well, to be fair, 50% is a number that came out of nowhere from you.
Like you said, I'm a pretty good researcher.
All right, but yeah, no, it's odd though that they're like, nah, we don't want to know what was in there.
I just think that's crazy. I will also say that the executor, which I read this independent of some of the articles that Olivia said.
You did your own research?
I did some independent research, and one of the things the executor said after OJ's death was that Ron Goldman's family will never see a fucking dime.
That's what he said?
From the OJ estate. He said especially the Goldman family. He like went out of his way to be like, fuck those people who lost their son. Suck a dick, Ron Goldman's family. You'll never see a fucking dime. And then he kind of like a few days later walked it back and was like, hey, y'all.
I was grieving.
We were all real upset. Juice was gone. I just said some stuff I didn't necessarily mean.
Honestly, I was drunk as hell.
I was at a party. OJ's dead.
Yeah, I miss my dog. I mean, oh man. Well, let's talk about this next one because that is the next headline that we were going to talk about anyway.
Yeah, OJ Simpson died $114 million in debt to Ron Goldman's family, and legal battle looms, the attorney says. Simpson owed Goldman and Brown's family $33.5 million after he was found liable in a wrongful death suit in 1997. Now, one of the things that I know to be true, again, I do my own independent research, is that when OJ Simpson was hit with this major charge after the death of Ron Goldman and losing this civil suit, he was able to basically claim bankruptcy, right? Like he had spent all his money on these trials.
Right.
He didn't have any of the liquid cash to be able to pay them. And one of the things that they ended up having to, I guess, like leverage as a way of reclaiming those funds is the autobiography, If I Did It, that OJ wrote, memoir that OJ wrote. And so when you listen to the book on tape of If I Did It, there's actually a 1 hour preamble from Ron Goldman's sister explaining that this book is now in their possession, like they own the rights to it, and it is ruining their life because people will not stop accusing them of trying to profit off of their family member's death, even though this is the only way that they can actually make real money from OJ Simpson given his current state.
Man,
it's dark.
That is a terrible... Everything, this whole situation, nobody won.
No, I don't think so.
It was like a brutal murder happened, committed by whoever you want, and everyone involved lost out terribly.
Except OJ.
I don't know. I think they got him. I like, he still ended up going to prison. His life spiral. It's not like he just walked and then it was like, he didn't go on to live the life he was going to lead.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
understand what I'm saying?
I guess one of the things I wonder, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, is like how much of that is by our standards of living? Do you know what I mean? That like at the end of the day, this dude went out playing golf every day and getting to make his little Twitter videos. And I wonder if he was just that crazy of a person that like that's all he wanted. Do you know what I mean? Like that's all he needed. And we're just putting all these expectations of, well, your family and your kids, it's complicated. And you know what I mean? Like you didn't get to live the life you want to lead, blah, blah, blah.
I think regardless, I don't think he wanted to go to prison for 9 years.
No, I don't think he did either, but I bet he thrived in jail.
Oh, man, I don't. What's thriving?
Not being.
I don't think he was having, I think he was in prison for 9 years. You know what I'm saying? Even at the top of that, it's still, he was in prison. I'm just saying, I don't think he got away with it clean. I don't think it was like, whew, all right, back to doing OJ. You know what I'm saying?
But again, this is where I guess we disagree.
And I also think that's like, I think that all the videos and shit like that, that's presentation to the world. It's just that. Like he was Paul Rudding it.
I guess.
You think there was just a really happy guy at the end there?
Again, this is where we disagree is like, I do think that there was a big period where he was just back to doing OJ. And then like in between, before he goes to jail again, he loses all his money. That stinks, but he gets to move to Florida and he immediately, I remember these headlines, he immediately had like 2 new girlfriends, both of whom looked fucking spitting image to Nicole. Like, I think some of it was just like a brain reset. He made a fucking prank show. He had a Soledad O'Brien special where he finally pretended to confess, and it wasn't in confession at all. It was just him being up there and being like, man, whoever did this, we got to catch him, Soledad. Like, I think if we're talking about a person being in on the bit, and I do genuinely believe he was in on the bit, this is a dude who kind of got to live the way he wanted to live, even when the repercussions tried to beat the shit out of him.
I mean, I guess it's difficult because I don't know how he wanted to. I mean, I guess fucking hoes and golfing.
That's all I'm saying. I think he just wanted to be fucking hoes and playing golf, and he got to do both of those things pretty frequently.
Yeah. After 9 years in prison.
After 9 years in prison. And I bet because of how big of a major player he was in the world, right? Like he had such a big imprint in everybody's life to the point that you stop even feeling bad for the victims of his murder, which
That's
is
true.
It's unfortunate.
I do. It is unfortunate in that I do not think of, even less than Nicole, Ron.
Ain't nobody thinking about Ron.
At all. At all.
And again, we're not celebrating that. I don't want any of our listeners to walk
by
away
no means,
and be
it's
like,
I understand that it's a murder. That's a terrible thing.
But it's just not even, they don't even bring Ron up half the time.
No, it's not.
It's not, nobody's thinking about Ron. So I don't think he went to jail and like people were like, fuck you, OJ. You're a wife killer. You're this, you're that. They were just like, bro, OJ Simpson is next door.
Right. I love those shoes.
That's fucking crazy. Naked Gun? That motherfucker's next door.
The OJ Juicers? You could play football and baseball.
I don't even remember OJ's shoes.
No, that's before our time, but that was the shoes he had. It wasn't even, I think it was like an independent shoe. I don't think it was even like Nike or Reebok or Pony or anything like that.
No, just Juicers.
I think it was just the Juicers. Hey, man, I tried to click on that OJ Juicer and my whole shit collapsed.
Whoa.
My internet just closed.
Wow. Even from heaven, my man's like, chill out. Chill
That's
out.
where you think he's at?
No. 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 I think OJ is somewhere else. I don't know where I think he is, and I don't think that's as important, but no, it's not. I don't think he'll have an eternity of bliss, I'd say.
Did you see that online it was it was trending Rest in Hell?
Yeah, I don't love that stuff. If I'm being honest.
Because here's the thing. That doesn't happen when like Kissinger dies. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't go like there is an aspect to the hatred that is truly a black man murdering a white woman, right?
Yeah, I think in general too, I just don't love when we like fucking celebrate a dead person. It feels, and I know that feels maybe like I'm trying to like be a weird PC, hey, that's not nice, whatever, but it's honestly more like, you know what bugs me about it is like dying kind of feels like a type of victory that we're being losers about when we celebrate it. Do you know what I mean? Like when you die, you're not tracking what we're saying about you. You're not getting to like, you're not getting to them. You know what I mean? OJ's not going to read the tweets and be like, fuck, everybody's mad at me or didn't like me. They're just going to be like, they're not here no more.
It's performative to us.
Yeah, it's just us performing sort of like our most vile nature to each other. And it's like, I don't know, man. We kind of just got to let people die and move on, good or bad. It feels odd to be like, I miss you so much or I fucking hated your guts the whole time. You just kind of have to be like, well, that's finished.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy. And like, I understand in my gut though, when I see that, it does feel racial. You know what I mean? I don't think that, and that's the hard thing with the whole OJ thing is like, everything he did is like terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. But you feel like he's being, it's incrementally worse because of how he looked. Even with the beating the charge, you know what I mean? That's the only reason you feel some sort of like I said in my gut with the like not guilty thing. As an adult, you come to be like, damn, at least somebody got off. You know what I mean? And it goes back to that like, it's almost like it's odd because he's used to represent a system that I don't feel like he necessarily wanted to be a part of.
No, he let's be clear. OJ didn't like being black. He didn't like having these associations, certainly not throughout the bulk of his life and career. But, and this isn't a new thought, but it is sort of a factual one, is like, at the end of the day, he did represent sort of an overcoming of a system that is truly built against black and brown people. objectively. Literally, our police system is built on the idea of recapturing slaves. This isn't a just program that we've set up in any way or fashion. And so OJ sort of like getting to overcome that was just a reflection of everybody celebrating and overcoming more than even just a celebration of like a black man and his blackness. It was like, nah, man, we just fucking lose every time. So it's nice to see. It's Ocean's 11. It's nice to see somebody beat the house and just walk away from the shit.
And that's truly, I guess, the saddest state of affairs within all this is like to have that feel like a win is such a dark representation of everything. You know what I mean? And it does feel like that to me. You know, for better or worse, it does feel like that.
And if we want to take even a bigger step back, I don't know that this case becomes this case if OJ murders his first wife. You know what I mean? If this black lady from fucking Oakland gets murdered along with her black ass side piece.
Could have been a light skinned guy. They're known for fucking people's wives. Don't be
That's
like
okay. That. Hey, I identify black ass too. I don't know if that's okay with you, but that's what's in my heart.
Oh, welcome. We'll watch football later.
No, we won't. But point being, I think, you know, the case becomes the case because of sort of the racial implications inside of so much of it. OJ becomes the polarizing figure because of the racial implications. You can't have the conversation without having the conversation about OJ's race, even at the points when OJ wasn't ready to acknowledge his race inside of it. Right. So it's unfortunate. I wish that like this could just be one of those classic funny murder trials that have nothing to do with
a true crime. You know?
Nothing to do with race. It's just it's just a man doing a bad thing to a couple people, and we move on with our lives.
Yeah, I mean, and I do think ultimately that is the difficulty of this whole thing, is that systemically, what's a win for the bigger picture is not always. Because in no way is this a win. I know we've been laughing, but this is like a terrible thing that happened.
It's a terrible thing that happened, and it's also
no, I'll keep laughing, whatever. I was trying to land this plane.
It was a terrible thing that happened.
Langston's grinning ear to ear right now. Can't even see his eyes. This reddish hue as his face rushes with blood. He's so happy.
But we cherish the moments we did get with OJ. We hate to see our friend pass, but we cherish the time we spent with him because he contributed so fucking much to just the laughs.
Yeah. I really wanted this to be funnier than it was.
I'm sorry that it wasn't.
Did you think it was going to be funnier?
I thought so. I thought we'd just be silly about it, and instead it felt like we were being responsible the whole time. And I'm sorry that happened.
I'm sorry, y'all. It's like we need to be more flippant about murder. And listen, Langston and I, we're working on being worse guys.
Yeah, certainly. I'm working on it. I think Gborie ebbs and flows on his commitment to coming to the devil's side.
I don't even know if that's a compliment or not.
I don't know that it is either. I'd like for you to join me. I'd like for you to nut up and join me. And instead, every week, you keep telling me how you've joined a church.
That's never happened, first of all. Relax.
Say, brother, have you heard the good word? What
Come
the
on,
fuck,
man.
Gborie? What are you talking about?
Sometimes somebody buys one bike, gets in a relationship, and all of a sudden he can't be a bad guy anymore.
Yeah, I don't like that. Look at me. I keep expanding my family and digging further into the dirt. That feels like the way you're supposed to do it.
That's what that term means. Expand your family. Clearly synonymous with dying.
Yeah. We miss you, Juice, and we hope wherever you are, which unfortunately is not heaven.
I think we all can understand that.
We hope, if nothing else, y'all take care, you know? And by y'all, we mean you. You want to tell the people where they can find you and what cool shit you have going on?
Yeah, why don't you come to a comedy show after all? Come see me do stand-up comedy. I'm recording my special. I'm very funny. No OJ jokes. No, none. I've never had an OJ book. I've never had an OJ joke.
I got an OJ joke.
Really?
Yeah. I got one I just wrote, actually. Not pre his death.
You were just thinking about him anyways.
No, literally, me and my wife listened to the book on tape together, and I just got a
That's
bit
sweet.
about...
Do you guys like sit and listen to it like in the kitchen?
Well, the bit was that we did it to save our marriage.
Whoa.
You know how like you're sitting with your girl and it gets like quiet, but like quiet in a way that like that too quiet that like if somebody doesn't talk soon, one of us is gonna start cheating on the other person.
No, that's not. I'm not there.
Oh, you'll get there. Take your time, young man. You'll find yourself there.
I'm in no mood to get to where you are.
Yeah, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, that's adorable.
Sometimes you got to feel that quiet, and it turns out If I Did It is a pretty good feel.
All right, well, I'm filming my special May 18th at 290K Studios in Denver, Colorado. If you watch my Instagram, the link will go up. It's a really small room. It only seats between 60 and 70. We're going to do 3-4 shows, so if you want those tickets, please get those tickets ASAP. DM me. I'll have the link up. Come out, support. I would really love to see you. Thanks to all the little mamas I've been running out to in the wild. Weirdly enough, some dude on the street after getting ice cream yesterday. Nice guy. Waves were swimming. You know, that lady in Boise. Nice lady.
You getting wavy, little mamas. Okay.
Yeah, well, the one was a man. The other one was a woman.
No, they both had waves.
Okay. I love a woman with waves.
I do too. As always, you can follow me at Langston Kerman. I'm not out on the road anytime soon, but if you want to see something I've been working on, a new show called Everybody's in LA, presented by John Mulaney, is going to be on Netflix May 3rd through May 10th. It's going to be live variety show that I've been writing for, and I'm going to do some bits inside of. And I'm really excited for you all to see it. And as always, if you want us to send us your drops, if you want to send us your conspiracy theories, if you want to advocate for who in fact did kill Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, that has nothing to do with OJ Simpson or Jason Simpson, send it all to mymommapod@gmail.com. Buy some merch at mymomatoldme.merchtable.com, and come see us live May 5th. David's birthday at the Comedy Store. Tickets are squeezing tight. We are getting low on the ticket sales, so please buy those last few. And as always, like, subscribe, retweet. I don't know what the fuck else you're supposed to do, but do all the things that make this podcast become more popular. There couldn't possibly be more for me to ask of you. That's it. Bye, bitch.
Trust me, daddy.